Hey, lifers, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Eric Aroka, and I am super excited today because we get to not have our next guest on once, but twice. And this time, we're actually recording, Kristin. What about that?
Yay!
I recorded an episode with Kristin about 2 weeks ago. I think it's been a couple of weeks. It's been a couple of weeks, and it was a great episode. I mean, it was fantastic. We had a great conversation, and I got busy. I came back, I think, a few hours later to my laptop, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull the video and pull the audio and get it all ready for future release. And I was like, where is it? Where did it go?
Right.
I don't
And
know
that's
where
when
it
I
went,
got the
Kristin.
text saying, hey, can we have a do-over?
Yeah. Please? I was like practically begging, like, oh, please. You're a friend, Kristin. Please throw a dog a bone. But
Yes.
graciously, Kristin agreed to come on, obviously, with us again. So, Kristin, welcome back to the Live the Life podcast. We're super excited to have you. So let's introduce you to our lifers that are listening to this episode. Kristin is a keynote speaker, the Calm Charismatic. And you want to know something, Kristin? The more I read that, the more I love the sound of that. The Calm Charismatic. I love that.
It's like
She is
jumbo shrimp. You're like, what? Calm and charismatic.
helping professionals stop second guessing, their presence and becoming social Legos. People who click using body language and nonverbal cues to build charisma, connection, and confidence. All great stuff. So, Kristin, welcome back to the podcast.
Hello. Good to be here again.
All right. So, I feel like we really should introduce or just tell all of our listeners how we actually met. So,
Yeah.
I will turn it over to you since you started the connecting between the two of us.
Yes. Well, we have a speaker friend in common, and she had on I liked her outfit, and I commented on a LinkedIn post saying, I love your pants. And she replied back, you really need to you need to connect with Eric. And so hence a relationship was born.
Excellent. I was just talking on the phone with our dear friend Jody last night, and we were talking about you and told her that I was able to help you out a little bit, and that we came up with a winning fit
Right.
for one of your big speeches or big keynotes coming up. So she was
Yes.
very excited for you. And anyway, so that was great. So most of our lifers should know by now. But before we get started with Kristin, I do want to throw this little bit of info out there to all of you lifers. So we are going to be consolidating our social media presence. Currently, I have a social media presence for the Walking Fashion Show. I have one for Eric Aroka, which is my keynoting, workshops, author, that type of stuff. I have one for the podcast. So we are going to be consolidating and just crunching it down and bringing it all down to one, which will all be under Eric Aroka as a brand. And then we'll have different buttons and things for you to click on so you can get to the right place. But that's coming soon. More information on that on future episodes. But right now, Kristin, I definitely want to talk to you about how do you see people out in the real world? How do you see them second guessing their presence? Is there a visual theme that you automatically go, ah?
Well, no, I don't know if there's an automatic thing, but,
Okay.
and hello, everyone. But there are cues. And what led me really to this interest is I was wildly insecure and I needed to know that I wanted the playbook. And I think that's how I see people second guessing themselves is they show up in a way that's small. It's kind of less than, and there are cues that our brain recognizes that we do, kind of low power body language that's what I would kind of take or interpret as second guessing. And that's why I think I'm passionate about what I do, because these are learnable skills. There is a bit of a playbook. And when you understand that, wow, that's a game changer. That allows you to show up and be intentional and have more presence and keep working on skills. I mean, we're all working on them, but just even picking one skill a week and just sort of leaning into it and really incorporating it, that's a game changer.
Wow. Okay. So when you say low power body language, what does that look like?
Well, there's a lot of different ways, but a lot of, I would say some of the big things are like standing small, taking up a little space, not having open body language,
Mm,
right? Where you're, and that was when I reflect back on myself. So I like to say, you know, I was born really shy and insecure, and I was the person who didn't want to be noticed. So I would wear all
okay.
black. Don't
Okay.
notice me. Don't call on
Okay.
me. And even though I thought I was invisible, no, that's where my brand was speaking loudly.
Hmm.
It was sort of like, um, yeah, you know, definitely in high school, it was the kind of alternative group.
Ah, my group, my
Yes,
people.
yes,
Okay, awesome. No wonder
right,
we're friends, Kristen.
right, yeah. So just sort of keep my head down, don't, you know. But anyway, so body language, that I definitely was closed off in my nonverbal, the way I dressed, also with the
Okay.
way I stood. Crossing my arms, my legs, just taking up very little space because I didn't want to call attention to myself. That has changed as I've gotten older. Yep, shoulders, you're doing
Is there a
shoulders.
shoulder thing too, like where you kind of
Yes.
like your
Yeah.
shoulders kind of go in and kind of
Yes.
downward a little bit? Is that a thing?
Yes. As
Okay.
okay, so see how that changes. If I did this whole, I don't know if, okay, now I can't seem to do this the same. But if they call this turtling, the more your shoulders go up,
Yeah.
the less confident and powerful you sound and look and then start to feel. So if I
Right.
pull my shoulders down, see how that changes it,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
right? So you want to pull your ears. Actually, there is
Yeah.
some science. The further your shoulders are away from your ears, the more confident you come across.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Excellent. I like that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
And then I'll add in
Those
vocal
are like
power.
little subtle things sometimes. Sometimes, because growing up, my mom was very old school, and she was very much a your posture
Hmm.
matters,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
so our whole lives growing up, it was all about posture, and she would say, "Put your shoulders back and
Yeah.
hold your head up high, and
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
walk up, to walk with your back straight, right? Don't slouch." That was her big thing. Don't slouch. Oh,
Right.
to this day, Kristen, she cannot stand it when people slouch. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, I've taken after my mother. You know what I mean? I'm
Right?
like, don't slouch.
Yes.
But okay,
Well,
so
because your
some,
nonverbals are
some
speaking.
yeah. So I feel like some of those cues are more noticeable or more in your face per se than others, right? Some of them could be more subtle, but
Mhm.
we either do them or we know people who do, or maybe we
Yep.
do one or two,
Yep.
and maybe we're not aware of it. How did you become aware that those were elements that were keeping you from second guessing your presence, as opposed to just saying, "Well, this is just who I am"?
Yeah. Well, the big thing for me is I worked at a company and I worked there 26 years. About year, I don't even know what, six something, I was asked to actually be the trainer for the company. And that was a moment for me because I didn't know how to stand in front of a group. And so I had to figure it out really quickly because I actually really liked it. I knew I had important things to share, but I didn't know how to do it. So that's when I really started to want to lean in and started to realize as I was practicing these skills, how much that impacted people's perception. I really could see and feel the difference, and others were commenting as well. That was incredible.
Wow. So when people are commenting, what was the time period between you noticing that, hey, I'm second guessing my presence by my posture, maybe
Hmm.
my facial expressions,
Yeah.
doing those things, to you kind of making that change? What time frame do you think, what's the time period? How much time went by? Was it years? Was it months?
No. Okay, so day one, I like to share the story about my icebreaker for my first class on my own. I had observed some other people, but on my own, what I opened with was, tell me something you'd rather be doing today, which is really low power. It's like I'm acknowledging I don't know if I have something important to say. So, like, even from my word choice, okay, day one, I started studying body language in earnest, got certified, and I want to say, I don't even know what the time frame was, but I'm going to say like a year or two in, I had a colleague come in the classroom when I was teaching, and she was getting some binders or something out. After the class was done, she came up to me and said, "What are you doing? You had them eating out of the palm of your hand." And
Oh,
that's when I felt validated because I could tell people were leaning in. They were laughing. If they went to the wrong classroom and they started in mine, they would say, "Oh, bummer. This seemed like it was going to be really good. But I have this other class I have to take." It just I was feeling it, sensing it, and then was starting to get validated for it. And then I was promoted. I became the manager of the training department. So it all started lining up.
yay!
Yay! Yep, it worked. Yeah.
Love it when a plan comes together.
Yes, but it was very incremental. It was build,
Okay.
build, build, build. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. I like that. So I have been through kind of my own journey with this. I feel as though just because of my upbringing, I feel like my posture, my body language has always been very, I would say, positive, for
Hmm.
the lack of a better word. Confident. That's the word I would use.
Okay. Yep.
Very confident, always walking upright, head held high, shoulders back, and to the point that people would kind of think, "Oh, that guy is
Mm.
really cocky, or he's really into himself." And don't get me wrong, I love me a little bit of me. You know what I mean? But that was the perception, right? And I was okay with that. Like growing up, I was like, think what you want, I don't care, like whatever.
Right.
Um, and I was fine with it. But what bothered me was later on when I got into my, I would say into my early 30s, I joined a group called Toastmasters. Have you heard of
Yes,
Toastmasters?
of course. Of
Sure you
course.
have.
Yes.
Speakers, right? So the platform basically is for all of our listeners out there. You join Toastmasters. No, you don't eat toast and you don't do toast. You actually go and you practice your public speaking skills and leadership skills. They have those two tracks. Well, you can sign up to give speeches that are anywhere between 5 to 7 minutes. And at the end of the meeting, everybody votes for the best speaker. Okay. I had just quit my job as a pharmaceutical sales rep and wanted to do something different. So I went to this meeting that my uncle invited me to, and I started giving speeches. And after every speech, people would say the same thing. People would say, "Wow, you did not smile at all throughout your speech. Um, you had really great eye contact, but you never smile. You were very confident in your posture, but you kind of have RAF. I call it RAF face. You can figure out what that means." And trying to keep the podcast G-rated.
Yeah.
And so I would always think, I don't even know what you're talking about, right? Like on one occasion, the one I was voted best speaker, um, I was given this feedback and I was not taking the feedback well. Like I remember driving home, Kristin, thinking, these people, what is wrong with them? Like I smiled throughout the entire 5 minutes. Like I smiled so much. My energy was super like high and I was super pumped up and I was great. Right. And I got home and somebody has sent me a link to the video. And unfortunately for me, Kristin, that video exists today on
Oh.
YouTube. So if anybody wants to really look it up, go ahead. I'm not putting that sucker out there. So if you find it, good on you. I'm not looking for it.
Mhm.
Um, this is what I noticed. I noticed that my posture was very good.
Mhm.
But they were right. My energy was low, and I definitely had RAF face,
Mhm.
right? I did not smile at all through that. And I thought, well, if I'm going to become a professional speaker, right? Or not even a professional speaker, but just if I want to improve my presence to other people, I'm going to have to make some of those changes. Like I need to, I call it smile talk, right? I've done it throughout the
Mm.
podcast where you smile with your eyes and your your corners of your
Smize.
mouth,
Mhm.
and you talk, and it's friendly, it's inviting, it's okay, right?
Mhm.
But I had to learn gradually over time to get good at that, where I don't necessarily have to think about it now. It's
Yep.
just like second nature,
Yep.
right? But
Yep.
that was one of the things where I thought, oh, people, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like I'm great, right? But come to think, I was not great. I was anything less than great. So I think it happens to all of us, but I think it's just having that ability to either recognize it on our own or to listen to that feedback. You know what I mean? That can be hard to it can be hard to take, because feedback is great, but it's only, I mean, you have a choice. You accept the feedback or you reject the feedback. Those are your only two choices. So
Right.
when you're getting that kind of feedback, is there something that you recommend as far as like how to take that feedback in a positive way so that you can make those changes? Because
Yeah.
not everyone is going to be video recorded and have to painstakingly watch their performance to say, ah, they were right, right,
Right. Right. Well, okay. So in speaker world, we can watch the tape. We often
right.
are recorded.
Makes it easy.
Right. So, which is incredibly helpful because you can spot those things. Now, I had a similar moment, but now that we do things virtually,
Yeah,
it's the same kind of thing. That
yeah.
I saw myself in a Zoom meeting and went, ah, I
Ah,
have RBF. So I refer to it as resting bothered face
okay.
to keep it G-rated, where so it really is real. It's when your face is relaxed, the corners of your mouth turn downward, sometimes the corners of your eyes. So it gives you a mad, irritated, or sad look if you
Yeah.
have it, and I do. Yeah, yeah, right. So people typically have a resting bothered face or kind of a resting neutral. It's kind of rare to have like a resting happy face. It's not. I have seen it,
I
right?
don't know. I don't even know what that looks like.
Like okay, oh gosh, I'm forgetting his name. There's a weather forecaster. Oh, it'll come to me. But he always looks joyful when he's,
When
telling
he's
you the
normal, like
news,
straight face, he looks happy.
right? But okay, so same thing where I realized that even though I'm engaged and I'm really active in my head, my face isn't in alignment. Like people don't know that. And
Yeah,
that's what's really stressful. That's when you don't get a lot of cues, it's really hard for the other person. If you've
yeah.
ever, this is a pretty old study, but there's a still face baby experiment where they ask parents, like mothers, to play with their babies, and then they ask them to just go blank in their face. The mom is still there, but once they stop giving cues, it's really distressing for the baby. It's painful to watch. Like they start
Oh
crying,
wow.
and it's because they're not getting the cues.
Yeah,
Very hard. So to your point, it's intention how you're showing up. Now, I have to say, I tend to skew more warm. So I've worked hard to add more competent cues in, so I'm a little bit more balanced. I'm
okay.
working with a speech coach right now who says, stop smiling all the time. Like when
Oh,
you're delivering. So at the opposite end of you, where you weren't smiling enough, I'm smiling too much.
yeah,
Important to understand how you're showing up, to be aware, self-aware.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I, I totally get that, because if I'm telling a sad story, the last thing I want to be is smiling, right?
right.
So you got
Yeah.
to have like the right.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that makes sense. You
Yeah.
can't like you shouldn't overdo it, but you should do it to the point where you're not second guessing, because the whole point of it is to not second guess your presence, right? To
Hmm.
show up as your
Right.
confident self, right?
Mhm.
Because we all bring value, we all have value, and so that confidence allows us to be able to perform in whatever capacity we're performing in, whether we're a leader, whether we're running a meeting in a company,
Mm-hmm.
whether we're, just giving a presentation in front of our team, or you're a professional speaker. I mean, really, in anything, because everybody speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I think about parents, I think about teachers, I
Yeah.
I think about doctors. Like, I would not want to have surgery, Kristin, with a doctor who second guessed his presence.
No. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I
That's
don't.
always,
I
yeah.
just wouldn't. Like, when you see those cues, I would be like, no. Like, I need a second. I need a second opinion. Right?
Right.
Do you have a friend? Anybody but you, because you're showing up small.
Yes.
And I think that definitely plays a role in our mindset
Yeah.
to say, oh no, I can't trust that this individual knows what they're saying, knows what they're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
for something as important as surgery or something like that, or like if you're attorney, right? You're going to
Mm-hmm.
court, and you have a trial attorney, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Man, can you imagine if your trial attorney
Mm-hmm.
was second guessing their presence?
Right. Right.
Wow, that's catastrophe. I mean, waiting to happen. I feel.
Well, and that this even like ties into a handshake. And the reason I share that is my husband several years ago had like rotator cuff surgery, and we went out of state for it. We did some Zoom calls with the doctor, but it wasn't until I met the doctor in person and shook hands that I was like, okay, cool. It'll be all right. But if they
Yeah.
would have came in and been very weak, or, yeah, that really does bedside manner. That stuff is real.
So I understand the weak handshake, right?
Hmm.
But what are your thoughts on like the overly aggressive handshake?
Right, right.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts there?
Don't do it. Um,
Okay.
I usually tell people to mimic the amount of pressure you're getting unless they're the bone crusher. We're
Yeah.
not going to try and win. There's a ton on handshakes, but the couple quick tips are: you offer your hands straight up and down.
Yeah.
You don't come in with your palm down. That's very aggressive.
No,
This is very weak. You're exposing your
yeah.
wrist, so it's straight up and down. I'm showing you I'm an equal. Yep,
Yeah. Have
yep.
you noticed Donald Trump?
Oh, yes.
Have you noticed how he shakes hands? He
Uh-huh.
comes in straight, and what does he do when he shakes your hand? He
Yeah,
flips your hand.
yep,
So
yep.
his hand is dominant. His hand is on
Hmm.
top. I
Yep.
find that very interesting. Very interesting.
There's a ton with politics. Yes, you will
Yeah.
see presidents jockeying to have their hand on the outside for pictures. The double handshake, the guiding someone
Yeah.
through the door. It's all about who's in
Yeah.
control. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, okay,
Mm.
so straight up and down,
Okay.
like 1 to 2 pumps. You don't need
Yeah.
never ending.
Yeah.
And I would say if you connect the webs of your thumbs,
Hmm.
that's the other thing. Otherwise, you get into kind of that weak
Yeah.
dead fish handshake. So,
Yeah.
firm. My definition of firm is: imagine you're picking up a piece of fruit and you're checking ripeness. That's about it. But different cultures have different rules. Yep. So it's more you're echoing and showing nonverbal respect by giving the same pressure, unless they're the bone crusher.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent points. When you were talking about that, I just had all these memories come flooding into my head about the importance of a handshake,
Hmm.
and how truly cultural that is.
Hmm.
Americans, I've traveled all over the world for my job,
Hmm.
and I've learned that Americans are handshakers. We are
Mm.
handshakers, no doubt. We know how to give a firm handshake. It's just like an automatic thing. But
Hmm.
you go south of the border, you go to Mexico, you're going to get a lot of what I call dead fish
Oh,
handshakes. A lot of
okay.
this.
Okay.
Literally, literally, men of stature, men of in powerful positions, CEOs, any of the EOs, right,
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
an organization, politicians, even
Yeah.
doctors, attorneys, people of prominence, if you will. Many times, I would say 8 times out of 10, when I'm in Mexico
Mm.
visiting or whatever, a conference, whatever, people do this kind of handshake where it's just completely limp.
So
right?
what
And
makes a bad handshake
that's a
in
very cultural thing there,
yeah.
though, right? Like that's the norm there. So I've learned, just because of my travels, I've had to learn that how to do it correctly in different parts of the world, right? If I'm
Yeah.
in America or Canada, hey, you're going to get a firm handshake,
Mm-hmm.
just like you described. If I'm in Mexico, I'm not going in super hard, but I'm still going to be firm, but I'm not going to overdo it, right? And
Right.
I'm not going to
Right.
go, ew,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
that's honestly, that's what you feel like doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you get
Mm-hmm.
that kind of handshake. So I've had to learn that. Same thing with eye contact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that was a thing until I went to South Korea, and I was like killing it on this workshop. I mean, Kristen, I was killing it, right? And then halfway through my workshop, I just noticed that people were literally doing this in their chairs. They were literally melting in their chairs like this, just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And it was because I held my eye contact with them for too long. I was keeping my eye
Yes.
contact with them for 5 to 7 seconds per person instead of
Mm-hmm.
1 to 2.5
Mm-hmm.
seconds per person. So try that next time you're like in an Asian environment, and you'll see they'll look down. They will
Yeah.
totally look away from you. They look down. They cover their eyes. They just feel really
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable. But when I've been with Arab countries or conferences with Arab people, it's totally different. It's an ice. It's like a eye staring contest. It's
Yeah.
like a definitely a staring
Mm.
contest. You want to keep eye contact for like 5 to 7 seconds, right? You do
Yeah.
not want to break that contact because you are locked in with them. Americans, or I call it like the West, right? Western society, it's
Mm-hmm.
1 to 3 seconds. That's your safe bet, right? But I feel like that makes a big difference too, like in making sure that you're not second guessing your presence along with the handshake. I feel like
Right.
eye contact is a big deal.
Well, can I build on that?
Yes,
Okay.
please. You're the
So,
expert.
well, i- culture does matter. So in
Yeah.
the States, about 60 to 70% eye contact feels about right. So you're right, it can be higher in some countries, lower. Our family hosts exchange students, and we've hosted students that it's a sign of respect to not make a strong eye contact,
Right.
especially with someone who's older. So that absolutely tracks. Also, neurodiverse, people on the spectrum, et cetera, it's really hard to make eye contact because our eyes don't stay still. So that could
Yeah.
be an issue
Yeah. Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it could be perceived as rude, and it's really just a matter of it's very difficult. But I'm going to give you two different ways you can kind of practice with eye contact. So if I'm looking at you, I'm looking at your eyes. When I break gaze, so when I naturally access a thought or look away, if I go up high on your forehead, so it's like a triangle,
Uh-huh.
that's a confident way to make eye contact.
Okay.
Because when they've tracked leaders' eyes, they find that that's the eye pattern they make. They're talking to you,
Uh-huh.
and then they go up high.
Okay.
So understanding that, if I'm looking at your eyes and I'm dropping low, like an upside down triangle, that's more warm, friendly, social gazing. So it's
Okay.
the lower part of your face. Again, no right or wrong. It's just if I'm trying to build rapport with you, I'm trying to, connect with you.
Yeah.
I might want to do it lower, upside down triangle. And if I'm
Lower
trying
than
to
higher.
pitch,
Yeah.
yeah. So understanding what your default is. My hunch is, Eric, is you're probably the competent.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. But being able to self-identify and then kind of, track people in your life, what do they do, and then practice going between the two of them.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
then also one other sort of competent thing is we like it when, people are talking and we're accessing a thought, we're looking off. But as long as I come back and I end my sentence and I'm looking at you, that's a power move.
Right.
So I can be looking around thinking, but then I'm coming back to you and ending my sentence.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
And I think we even touched on our first time we recorded. We talked about even like the social media thing, right? And I'm not even talking about social media for like presenters, right? I'm just talking about anybody who uses not social media, Zoom meetings, right?
Yeah.
Virtual
Yeah. Yeah.
meetings, virtual meetings. And this goes for anybody, not just a presenter. is we have the tendency to do this. I'll do it right now. We have the tendency to do this and to change our gaze down at the screen and to look at that little box that you're sitting in right now. And we feel like that's making eye contact. But in reality, that's not looking,
Right.
that's just me looking up over here to you, right?
Yeah. Right.
So gotta look at that little green dot on your laptop or whatever device you're using. You have to have your eyes fixed on the camera in order for you to make eye contact virtually with other people. If not, you're just looking over here or you're literally looking over there.
Well, and we've all experienced, so this is what they call fronting. So if I'm talking with you in person, Eric, I'm fully facing you, my head, my torso, my toes, I'm facing you. That's giving you, like you have my full attention. When we kind of turn away or our feet are, kind of askew, that can be a cue I need to get going or others can join. But in the virtual world, when we have multiple screens, it gets tricky. So if,
it does.
right? So I'm looking at content over here and the camera's not in that alignment. It doesn't feel like you're giving full attention, and that we don't like that. So at least acknowledging it. Like I'm standing at a stand desk. I have an iPad. So often when I'm taking notes, I'm kind of looking down, but I will tell the person, I'm paying attention. I'm going to be taking notes. So if you see me look down, that's what I'm doing. And then when I'm speaking, I'm always stopping and I'm looking at them.
Yeah.
That's how you do it virtually. Because I can't, there's limitations.
Great tips. Wonderful tips for all of our virtual.
Right. This suddenly became virtual.
Yeah. I can't believe that. Yeah. It's weird how fast that happened too. Like, like before COVID, I think I had been in one virtual meeting in my entire professional career. I think I had been in one.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Well,
and
it's here now. Look at you
podcasting.
It's
like every second of every day, it seems like almost.
Right.
It's crazy. Okay. Excellent. Good tips. All right. So what are your go-to strategies, tools that our lifers, our listeners can use to help them to stop second guessing their presence? What are give us some real actionable tools and strategies?
Well, I'll share the big thing for me was the open body language, just understanding, keeping my hands at my sides, or kind of gently in front of me. That did not feel natural at all. I felt like I had to cross my arms or put them in my pockets or, do something like that. So working really hard to be open, because when you do that, you are far more approachable. People feel comfortable. So that was a big thing for me. Also using my hands. Our brain really does pay attention to hands, because hands indicate friend or foe. Am I going to hurt you? I can do harm with hands. So understanding that it's a good thing to use your hands intentionally.
Yeah.
So I'll do a real quick, if I'm going to step back for a sec, but if you think of the strike zone, kind of keeping your hands in there is a pretty good default. Coming out of it is a little higher energy. Dropping your hands at your sides is lower. It's all about how you're using it. If I want to get your attention, I can go outside. If I want to bring the mood down or be a little bit more serious, I can keep them at my side. This is a pretty good default.
Yeah. Okay.
And then thinking of what are things in your line of work or in your day-to-day that you say routinely. Is there a way to say it better with hand gestures? Because we like it when people do that. It's you're speaking on two levels, so they're hearing it and seeing it, which makes you a much better communicator. So what are those things that you say on repeat that could use a little extra love and attention with hand gestures, being intentional about that? And again, you're not doing this kind of stuff. You're being very specific.
Right.
And okay, so real quickly, if I say, Eric, there's three things I want to cover. Now, if you're listening to this, I just held up 5 fingers.
Now, if you're dyslexic, you might be like, go on, continue.
Yes.
You hold up 5 and tell me 3. I'm like, and?
Yeah, yes. Or even just like, we have a lot we've got to get through. Our
Yeah.
brain defaults to the nonverbal. So really be intentional with it, because that is what makes you kind of move up to another level of communication, is really showing up, being specific, those movements, those pauses, etc.
It's amazing to me how Italians have mastered the
Yeah.
art of, hand gestures. I mean, this simple gesture is good, it's
Hmm.
indifferent, or it's horrible, right? One gesture covers the
Right.
entire spectrum.
Yeah.
I just think that's fabulous. Like,
Right.
wow, I use it all the time. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a
Yeah.
hands person, for
Yep.
sure. I think that's just a cultural thing, growing up. But
Yeah.
my I was born and raised in Chile, in
Mm-hmm.
South America, and then my parents, they all have different backgrounds as well, anywhere from Italian to French to Spanish, and so very charismatic, if you
Yeah.
will,
Yeah.
with their hands,
Yeah.
right, in their speech. So excellent, I like that. But I like what you said about that strike zone,
Yep.
right? 'Cause way up here is
Right.
it's more energetic, it's louder. Here
Hmm.
it's more calming, soothing, I think more trusting. I like that.
Hmm.
Those are all the words that came to me when you're talking about the strike zone. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There must be something to it. Okay. Besides body language and those great tips of
Hmm.
the strike zone, what else you got?
Well, I would encourage listeners to really think about the different, how you want to show up, and then be specific in working on that tip. So I like to do like little experiments that I mean, you're not telling your family, your friends, but you are going to try using more hand gestures, or you're going to pay attention to your eye contact, or you're going to have the open body language, and just start noticing, do I get, are people responding to me differently?
Yeah.
That's I think where the magic happens, where you can quietly do it
Yeah.
and just see what happens. One of the things I noticed early on is when I started being more open and being better with eye contact, I noticed that people would start talking to me more when I was with my husband. That he used to
Oh,
get, they would
yeah.
talk to, especially like sales, that people were starting to pay attention to me more. So just
Yeah.
leaning in that way, trying these different things, pulling your shoulders back, all the things. And for me, okay, I'm turning into Carrot Top. I have props here, but I have a speech bubble I'm holding over my head. Looks like a cartoon. Start thinking about, what do I want to show up with? Like when I walk in a room, what do I want that broadcasting? What vibe do I want to give off? And then start thinking about how you can show that in a nonverbal way.
Okay. I like that. I love those.
Yeah.
Those are easy to follow too. I have to agree that you don't have to tell anybody that you're working on them. Now, if you
Mm.
want to, go ahead, right? Like if
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
a person that you really trust and you feel like they could help you,
Hmm.
certainly share that with them. I didn't. I didn't even come home. I didn't tell my wife I needed to smile talk. I just kept it to myself because I really was like mortified by the whole
Right.
experience. But I remember it had been about it probably it I would say probably about a month and a half, I would say, between me receiving that feedback and watching that video to the next time I spoke in front of the same group at Toastmasters. Um, I won best speaker, by the way. But
It worked.
but
Yeah.
here's the thing is that I really tried. I really made an effort to smile, not throughout the whole thing because
Hmm.
that wouldn't be, I don't feel, authentic to
Right.
me, right?
Hmm.
But I found points in my speech where I could smile talk in those
Hmm.
moments.
Right. Right.
And I feel like that is what set it apart from anybody else that was doing
Right.
anything. And it also showed these people who had that feedback for me. It showed them that I was coachable, right? It
Hmm.
showed them that I could be, humble enough to say, "Hey, you know what? You were right,
Hmm.
and here's me really attempting to overcome that and to incorporate your feedback into an actual moment of
Right.
my life."
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that I think that makes a big deal. Now, I won, like I mentioned, I don't mind mentioning it ever that I won Best Speaker. But but I think what's the most important thing to me truly was the feedback I received after that
Mhm.
speech.
Mhm.
And the feedback was, "Oh, hey, you smile talk. You smile talked in the right
Mhm.
areas
Yep.
of your speech. It was
Right.
really warm. It was inviting." They used these words. And so now when I'm driving home, instead of driving home angry, like, what are these people thinking?
Mhm.
I'm driving home thinking, okay, what else can I learn from these people?
Mhm.
What else can they teach me? Can I be coachable enough to listen to additional feedback that I could incorporate into my right now? That's me and you talking as speakers, right?
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
can tell you that in my sales career, where I was not a professional speaker, I would consider myself a professional presenter, right?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
that's what sales is, right? It's public speaking, but I
Right.
felt like I was a presenter. And those were all tools that could have made me even more successful than I was had I had somebody told me about it, had I been aware of it, had I, you know, been able
Mhm.
to work on those skills. Now, I worked on other skills and other things that I believe helped me to be successful, but I think I could have been so much more successful had I
Mhm.
been able to incorporate just simple like smile talk throughout a sales presentation, for
Mhm.
example,
Mhm.
right?
Right. Right.
And so I think that all of our listeners can take something away from this because let's face it, we're all in the people business.
Mhm.
Regardless of what our business is, we are in the people business. And we don't really move products or services without interacting with other people.
Right. Right. Well, and I like how you're saying you're incorporating different things, and after a while, you don't have to think about it because it becomes
Yeah.
second nature. So it's, yeah, I always have something I'm working
Yeah.
on. There's, with a coach or whomever, but just things that I'm trying to get better at. So it's these little increments, these tiny tweaks that start to add up and really start to change your presence so you're not second guessing yourself.
So as the calm charismatic, I yes, I used it. I used it.
Yes.
As the calm I see. I just like saying that. As the calm charismatic, Kristen. Um, do you have a story that you could share where maybe you were coaching someone that that needed to up their game? They needed to stop second guessing their presence. What did you notice about them when you started working with them? How did they overcome that? What were the results
Mm,
of them working with you and incorporating those tools and strategies to help them
yeah.
stop second guessing their presence?
Well, let me just say that the calm charismatic really comes from I I mentioned I'm shy, awkward. I've learned how to play the game. I love being around people. It's not like I'm wildly introverted, but I had to learn that playbook. I just didn't get it. And my brand of charisma, I would love to be like Jack Black, who just comes bounding onto stages and has all this energy. That is not me. That is not true to me. So I'm charismatic in my own way, and it's a little bit more understated. I try to be more clever, in different ways with word choices or just funny little stories or what, we have our own versions, our own flavors of charisma. So mine just
Right.
tends to be a little bit more calm, but it is learnable. It's a learnable skill. So as far as the story, I don't know if I have a specific one, but I will say I'm working with someone right now who identifies as he's on the autism spectrum and he's having a hard
Oh,
time finding a job.
okay.
And for him, it's just understanding that even though he might not need the people part of it,
Yeah.
others do. So it's reading the room, understanding, because he said, I've had jobs and I'm on the team, but I always feel like I'm that outsider outside the team. So we're
Mm,
working on, okay, that there's conversational bids that you're sharing things about yourself and they're sharing things and you need to pay attention to that so you can follow up on and build these connections even though that isn't really what he values. He's starting to get like, but it does matter and it does impact my career. He's highly competent. He has his master's degree. He's a very smart gentleman, but
Right.
just really needs to learn how to connect. So I don't know if that's answering your question, but just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think that's very relatable,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so how is that going for him as you work with him? Has he seen a difference? Like, has he been able
Yeah.
to detect a difference in how he's interacting with other people or coming across other people?
Well, he's in the tech world, and that's a pretty hard job market right
Oh,
now.
that's a thing on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a series of sessions where I keep saying you have to put it in terms that make sense to you, but this matters in this way. So I'll give him examples. But yeah, I think he's to the point now where he's like, sending all these resumes out isn't going to serve me. I actually have to go to a networking group. I actually have to meet people. Like I think
Ah,
he's getting there, right? Which is super hard, especially if
yeah,
it's, not intuitive. But yeah, I actually have to know some people. And
yeah,
so we've worked even on humor, like, because you can tell very quickly
yeah.
that, so he's said, you may have noticed that I think a little bit differently. But I'm good in X, Y, and Z, but you probably don't want me planning the Christmas party, like, so he's owning it, taking charge of the narrative.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's,
Well, I like that he's self-aware,
yeah, yeah. Reached out
right?
to me because he knew it was a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. Step
Mhm.
step one,
Step one.
be
Yes.
self-aware. I I feel like I am very introverted.
Hmm.
A lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people say, "Oh my gosh, you're such a people person. There's no way," and I'm like,
Hmm.
"Way."
Hmm.
I am opposite of that. I am introverted to the core.
Hmm.
I It drives my wife crazy because we'll go to a function or something and she'll say, "Hey, go grab us a table," And I'm
Hmm.
like, "Yeah, I'll go grab a table." And I go grab a table that has nobody on it and it's
Hmm.
as far away from anybody else as
Right.
possible,
Yes.
right? And she's like, "What are you doing over
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
I want to go sit over there where everybody is," and I'm like, I'm an introvert. Like, I don't want to socialize. I Don't get me wrong, I like people. I
Hmm.
just I want my own, like, I want my space and I want a
Hmm.
lot of space,
Hmm.
as much
Hmm.
space as I can get. So
Yeah.
people always ask me, well, then what are you doing? Like, how is it that you come across as a extrovert? How is it that you have the job that you have?
Hmm.
And I just tell them, I don't know. Like, I know when the lights go on,
Hmm.
my my introverted takes a rest and my extroverted comes
Hmm.
out. So I know when and how to do it, but I can't be extrovert all the time because
Right.
I don't have that amount of energy,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? Like, if I go do a gig at a conference and I'm
Hmm.
speaking for an hour and a half or I'm speaking for 4 hours of the day in a workshop or something like that, like, I got to go home and
Yeah.
I can't like get on my computer and go back to work and just keep doing other things, other tasks. I literally have to
Yeah.
re-energize my batteries. I need to rest and just relax
Hmm.
because I am on overload, right? I'm on like what I call like people overload. And so I've got to be able to come back
Yep.
down
Yep.
again. But yeah, I am very much an introvert. Like,
Hmm.
you'll see, like, when I go to, I'm planning on attending my first NSA conference next summer.
Mm.
What's it called? What's it called?
Influence.
Influence. I'm
Yep.
planning on attending Influence next summer. There, I said it out loud, and
Hmm.
you'll notice, like, you'll see me, and I'll be very warm and friendly with you because you're a friendly face, and we're
Right.
friends, and we have that connection. But other than that, I'll basically just kind of like keep to
Hmm.
myself, right?
Yep.
And so that's something I have to work on because that can come off as me second guessing my presence
Right.
to
Right.
others, correct? And so
Yes.
I really
Right.
have to work on that. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm doing very well, but
Well, as a fellow introvert, I get it. And it's more of an energy preservation and just kind of knowing, like,
yeah,
I need a little bit of time. Yeah. I get that. And same thing with like, there's a lot of speakers that are extroverted and love being on stage.
Yeah.
I'm not that brand.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it. I like it. I enjoy it, but it's because I've prepared. I've
Yeah.
rehearsed. I know the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. It's
Um,
my it's my
yeah.
drug, Kristin. It's my drug. I kid you not. I don't need crack or cocaine. I just need a stage or one person that's willing to listen to me ramble. That's all I need. I'm good to go. That is
Yay.
so funny. That is so funny. Okay, that's so great. I love it. Okay, good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Um, all right. So, have you written a book about these?
I've not, but I'm starting. Because what I'm really interested in lately is digital charisma. So how do we show up online?
Oh,
That can be texts, that can be emails, that can be on Zoom. So I have yeah, I'm working on that. So that is a goal of mine to have my book about digital charisma sooner than later.
all right. Well, you heard it here first, y'all.
Yes.
Y'all heard it here
Coming
first.
soon.
Coming soon. I can't wait. That's going to be good stuff. I look forward to reading that. I think I may have mentioned this last time we spoke, but you are one of the rare people in my life that I've connected with in a very short amount of time. And I never want our conversations to end. Now, when we first started speaking, we were basically speaking about fashion because I was
Yeah.
helping you with
Yeah.
the style consultation, which
Hmm.
I loved. I mean, if I can talk about fashion, just let me at it. Like I'm
Right,
all
right.
over it. I
Yeah.
love it. So I had so much fun working with you, but I realized in our first phone conversation that I did not want to get off the phone with you. I would have been happy. And this is from Mr. Introvert. I keep knocking my
Yeah.
camera. This is from Mr. Introvert, but I kept finding myself thinking, what can I do to extend this conversation with this lovely woman? Right? I just I just think you're one of the loveliest people I've met in a long time. So I am like deeply honored to call you a friend,
Thank
a
you.
client. I don't know. I just think you're wonderful. So thank you so much. Um, Kristin, this was fantastic. This was really, really good stuff. I really love this. I really want you to get that book done, like,
Well, yep.
like ASAP. We all need it. It's not about you,
I have
Kristin.
some
It's
bones,
about
the
us.
bones there. Yep, I'll get on it. Yep.
It's about us. Okay. No, this is going to be great. I really love it. Well, Kristin, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast a
Two
second
times.
time.
Yep.
We both verified that it did say it was recording this time,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So we verified that, trust but verify,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
as Ronald Reagan used to say.
Hmm.
And so I'm happy. Super insightful, great tips. I think that I will never forget the strike zone mid range for hand gestures. I
Hmm.
don't think I'll ever forget that. That is embedded in my brain, I think, for till the
Hmm.
end of time. And I'm really looking forward to being able to put that to use
Hmm.
here very, very quickly.
Yep.
Because I have an opportunity in the next couple of days, I think on what's today, Tuesday, on
Hmm.
Thursday, to use it. So I am definitely going to use more of that mid range strike zone
Hmm.
with some of my hand gestures. I think that will really help my presentation and what I have to share with these individuals. So thank you for some great tips today. I really enjoyed it.
Report back. I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Oh yeah, I definitely will. You and I are in touch, so I'll definitely let
Okay.
you know. All right, you let me know when that book is coming out,
Will do.
and I will keep our lifers up to speed on that. And I will give all of our lifers all of your social media stuff links in the
Yes.
description. So please follow Kristin. Definitely follow her on LinkedIn. She's
LinkedIn.
got great content on LinkedIn. She is fantastic. And you don't want to miss any of her stuff. Anywhere else they should follow you that you
LinkedIn is where I
your
hang out.
preference.
That's kind of where I
Okay.
hang out, and then my website. That's what I can handle right now.
Okay. Well, I will
Find me
put
there.
those links. I will have the links of your website and your LinkedIn on the description. So give her a follow. And remember, all of these things that we've talked about, about body language and facial cues and eye contact. All of these things really just help you to live the life that you've always imagined. Sometimes it's a small piece in our overall life. Sometimes it's a big piece in our overall life. But whether it's small or big, it helps us to live the life we've always imagined. Till next week.
Bye.